My name is Bianca Gonzalez, and I am the Bullying Prevention Program Coordinator with the Riverside Medical Clinic Charitable Foundation. And what my presentation will be going over is the bullying dilemma. So I will be talking about the definition of bullying, the different types of bullying, as well as different characteristics to look out for if your child may be the target of bullying or the aggressor in the situation. And most importantly, how to work with schools, work with your child's school on finding a solution to this issue. So before I go ahead and get into the presentation a little bit more, I want to go ahead and talk about our foundation and the history and other health-related programming that we do have. So about 35 years ago, we were actually founded by about 19 doctors that worked at the Riverside Medical Clinic. So we're not directly through the clinic, but the Riverside Medical Clinic is actually one of our biggest sponsors and supporters in all of our programming. We implemented the Anti-Bullying Institute in 2014, just based off of the lecture that we held. And within that lecture, about 500 people attended. So with just that vast amount of attendance and those that were attending to get this useful information, we realized it was extremely important to implement bullying prevention programming within our foundation. So that's when the Anti-Bullying Institute was implemented. And other than these bullying prevention parent classes that are available as webinars or in person when requested, we also have our hero programming, which is where we help about 10 schools within Riverside County implement their own bullying prevention programming. And we also offer different kinds of events and activities as well to school sites. It could be youth organizations, community organizations when requested from our website. And we also hold our yearly bullying prevention conference. So this bullying prevention conference that we hold is a day-long's worth of education and resources for those that attend. So other than that, we have our health-related programming. So we do offer monthly support groups in regards to chronic illnesses, such as Alzheimer's, endometriosis, prostate cancer, and brain injury and stroke. And just take into account that our endometriosis support group is our only webinar-based support group, and they are actually free. Anybody can attend, family members, those that are currently experiencing these chronic diseases, or just anybody wanting to gain that information. And they're available at the Riverside Medical Clinic, located in Riverside, California, off of Brockton Avenue. We also offer different health-based events and lectures in honor of some of our founding doctors, and we give out scholarships throughout the year. So for students that are juniors or seniors graduating and pursuing a degree in the healthcare field, as well as those that are currently working in the healthcare field wanting to pursue further education, or for children or adults with special needs or special circumstances. So if you would like any more information in regards to our monthly support groups, different health-based lectures and events, and our scholarships, please take a look at our website at www.rmccharity.org. Okay, so I will go ahead and get into the definition of bullying. So bullying encompasses 3 main points. It's important to take into account that it's an unwanted aggressive behavior, it's repeated, and if not managed, it is can lead to long-lasting problems in the future. So being an unwanted aggressive behavior among school-age children and adults. So bullying definitely does not discriminate. It does affect children, adults, if you've heard of workplace bullying, as well as senior citizens. So there is senior to senior bullying as well. And it involves a real or perceived power imbalance. So at times it can be, the more popular kid bullying somebody that's more isolated, withdrawn, maybe they don't have as many friends, or it can be something to where somebody is really good at a certain subject, whether it's math, English, or just really good at a sport, and they're envious of that. It's repeated over time, or has the potential to be repeated over time and progress over time. That's really the main point. If it's just an isolated incident where a child is unkind to another child and it doesn't happen again, then maybe it should not automatically be labeled as bullying. But if it's repeated and it's progressing in its nature, then it's definitely considered bullying. And we are migrating from labeling a child a bully or a victim. That is why we are migrating more towards aggressor and target, just because bullying is definitely a behavior that can be changed. So just as easy as somebody can learn to be aggressive and unkind and disrespectful and bully others, they can switch that behavior and they can learn to be kind, be respectful, and be inclusive towards others as well. So the different types of bullying are verbal, physical, emotional, sexual. Cyberbullying is a big one among teens, and through text and video, which falls under cyberbullying. Exclusion is a big form of bullying as well. So if you don't know what exclusion is, an example that I do have and that I share at most of my parent classes is possibly just a group of children sitting at lunch, and let's say a child wants to join their group and sit with them. And these kids just intentionally exclude this child from being part of their group. So another thing that you can add into there is ridicule. So if there's bystanders, if there's other students that are seeing this happen around them, this child is being excluded and he or she is being ridiculed in front of other students. And it's being done intentionally to hurt their feelings. And racism and sexism as well can fall into bullying. So another topic that I do briefly want to go over is just the difference between teasing and bullying. There are some differences. So teasing can actually have no intentions of anybody getting hurt. It can be playful between both people, fun and good-natured, and at times it can bring people closer together in their friendship. So teasing can usually be between siblings, family members, or really close friends. Whereas bullying is intentional. It's being done to hurt or cause distress to a person. It isn't playful at all, and the behavior is repeated over and over again. Something to take into account is that teasing may lead to bullying, but it's important for the child to know that if they feel like the comment that's being said to them by their close friend or whoever it may be, letting them know in an assertive way that they don't appreciate what's being said so it doesn't progress into the act of bullying. I do have an example. So the difference between teasing and bullying that I'll share is that Mary trips over her own feet, and all day her friend Sarah calls her a klutz, but they both laugh about it. So Sarah called her a klutz, but Mary knows her sense of humor, and they both laugh about it. So she's not really offended by the comment that was being said. Whereas on the other end of the spectrum, bullying, Mary falls after being tripped by Sarah, but Sarah tells everyone that Mary fell because she is clumsy and dumb. So she tripped her, as well as ridiculing her in front of others by calling her negative names. So there are actually many different forms of bullying that are in that example if it's being repeated over and over again. And just some questions that I want you all to think about is, what is your definition of bullying? Is your child being bullied? Have they ever let you know that they've been bullied at school? Were you bullied as a child? Were you the aggressor? Is there a pattern that you notice, or how bad is it from your child's perspective? So these are just great questions to have open-ended conversations with your child on this subject, and just to get to know a little bit more about whether they feel like they're being bullied or they have ever been bullied, or maybe get to know if they are exhibiting aggressive behaviors and being the bully in the situation. So I want to go a little bit into cyberbullying, and it definitely overlaps with traditional bullying. So it is willful. The behavior is deliberate, definitely not accidental. It is repeated, and there is harm that's being caused. But the main difference is that it is being done through electronic devices. So that can be cell phones, tablets, laptops, and gaming systems. So Xboxes, PlayStations, I believe there's many more than that, but those are the two main ones that I do know of. And most of the time, kids who are being cyberbullied are often bullied in person as well. Additionally, the kids who are cyberbullied have a much harder time getting away from the behavior. So why is that? Bullying, cyberbullying, can happen 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. It's something that a child cannot get away from. So if they're being bullied face-to-face on school campus, on the way home, they're being texted negative comments. Maybe when they get home, somebody's messaging them on Facebook, Instagram, Snapchat, whatever social media apps that may be on their phone, and so on. And it can just continue over and over again. It's so hard to get away from your phone if it's constantly happening to you, especially when you're a teenager. Messages and images can be posted anonymously and distributed quickly to a very wide audience, and it's very difficult and sometimes impossible to trace the source if it's being done anonymously. And deleting inappropriate or harassing messages, texts, and pictures is very difficult once they've been posted or sent. So it's important for children and teens to know to just think before they post, because once it's on there, it can be on there forever. A couple of examples of cyberbullying could be sending mean messages or threats to a person's email account or cell phone, spreading rumors online or through text messages, posting hurtful or threatening messages on social networking sites. Like I said, one of the most popular ones is Facebook or Instagram, Snapchat, Twitter, or web pages. Stealing a person's account information to break into their account and send damaging messages, pretending to be someone else online to hurt another person, taking unflattering pictures of a person and spreading them through cell phones or the internet, and lastly, sexting. That is a form of cyberbullying, and it is when sexually suggestive pictures are circulated or messages as well about a specific person. This is a great forum. This is a great resource that I like to give out to our parent classes, and it's our online apps 101 forum. And it's pretty much all of the apps that are on your children's phone. It's a lot of apps, but it does have the main ones. It has Instagram, Snapchat, Facebook, but it goes into detail on what these apps are all about. So just like your kids are professionals at using their electronic devices and knowing how to use these apps, we want you all to become professionals as well in understanding these apps, just as well as your kids. So if you would like further information on this app 101 form, we have it on our website, and I will go ahead and let you know our website at the end of this presentation. Just some more helpful software in regards to monitoring your child's usage is NetNanny, PumpPick, Meet Circle, or Screen Time Lapse. These are all softwares, different softwares that give you visibility and control in managing your child's online experience. Some of them might have a small fee per device or per year, so please go ahead and visit those websites just to get further information on that. A couple of statistics that I do want to cover is that 1 out of every 4 students report being bullied during the school year, and 64% of children who are bullied did not report it. Only 36% reported the bullying. So why is that? I will be going over some of the reasons why a child might not be reporting bullying as much. 19.6% of high school students in the US reported being bullied at school in the past year, and 14.8% reported being bullied online. 81.9% of students who identify as LGBTQ were bullied in the last year just based off of their sexual orientation. And peer victimization of all youth was less likely to occur in schools with bullying policies that are inclusive of LGBTQ students. Some more statistics is that 63.5% of students feel unsafe because of their sexual orientation, and 43.9% because of their gender expression. About a third of LGBTQ students missed at least one entire day of school in the past month because they felt unsafe or uncomfortable. And peer victimization of all youth was less likely to occur in schools with bullying policies that are inclusive of LGBTQ students, just as I stated in the past slide. But just a couple of positive statistics that I can share is that more than half of bullying situations stop when a peer intervenes on behalf of a student being bullied. Those are the bystanders in the situation. And school-based bullying prevention programs can actually help decrease bullying by up to 50%. And then just a couple of statistics on cyberbullying is that among high school students, 15.5% are cyberbullied and 20.2% are bullied on school property. Among middle school students, 24% are cyberbullied and 45% are bullied on school property. Unfortunately, most bullying does occur in middle school. And the percentages of individuals who have experienced cyberbullying at some point in their lifetimes have nearly doubled from 18% to 34%. And 90% of teens who report being cyberbullied have also been bullied offline, so they definitely overlap. And females are 2 to 9 times, actually 2 times more likely to be victims of cyberbullying, and cyberbullying victims are 2 to 9 times more likely to contemplate suicide. So overall, what do these statistics prove? Students who engage in bullying behavior, the aggressors in the situation, are at risk for academic problems, substance use, and violent behavior later in adolescence and adulthood. And students who are both targets of bullying and engage in bullying behavior are at greater risk for both mental health and behavior problems than students who only bully or are only bullied. And lastly, students who experience bullying are twice as likely as non-bullied peers to experience negative health effects. So not only negative mental health effects, but negative health effects such as headaches and stomach pain. So as I stated, why is bullying not reported as often as it should be? Some of the reasons why young people may not report is merely because they're scared of confrontation. That is one of the big ones. They fear repercussions from the aggressor. Maybe they don't even know how to report it. At times, they may not know that they can go to a trusted adult on campus and report what is happening to them, whether it's a teacher, whether it's an administrator, their counselor, the custodian, whoever. Maybe they don't think an adult can help. They do not like or know the target. They may rely on someone else to intervene, so maybe a bystander that's seeing this happen, or at times they may be friends with the aggressor and they just don't want to go against them in any way. Other sayings to where it contributes to why it's not reported as much is snitches get stitches. So that's a very popular saying that I'm sure everybody has heard. If I speak up, no one else will. He or she is too popular. I won't be cool if I speak up. Maybe I don't want the bully to come after me. So, as the previous slide stated, they fear repercussions from the aggressor, or no one will listen to me if I speak up. Obviously, we do know that the effects of bullying are severe, and other misguided statements that I've heard are that bullying is just a normal part of growing up. It helps children deal with the cruelties of the real world, or it helps sensitive children toughen up. It is important for us to know that this is not true. All of those statements are false, and it's important for children to know that bullying is not okay and it's not a part of normal school culture. The effects of bullying can be devastating, and they can continue into adulthood and drive countless children into exhibiting anxiety, depression, self-harm. Some will even attempt or commit suicide because of what they're going through. Bullying just doesn't affect the target and the children who are the aggressors, but everyone who is exposed to this environment in which it occurs, most commonly at school. That is why it's important for bystanders that see this happening to speak up and say something. That's why when we do events at schools, we let children know not to be bystanders. We want them to be upstanders and help their peers if they're ever being bullied at school, and say something if they see something. So just some characteristics of aggressors that I want to go over is that they may tend to have high self-regard, lower empathy towards others. They may be the popular ones in school. They may show defiant and aggressive behavior towards peers and adults, and at times they may have behaviors that are modeled at home. So if they see negative behaviors occurring within their household, whether it's between parents, siblings, other family members, they may feel like what they're seeing is normal, and they may act out in that way when they're at school with their peers. They may feel invalidated often, and actually recent research shows that the pleasure center of their brain is activated during aggression. So when they're being aggressive towards others or bullying others, it feels good to them, unfortunately. So on the other end of the spectrum, the targets, what are some characteristics about them? So they tend to be shy or socially uncomfortable, or like I said earlier, very good at something. They tend to be a late or early bloomer, have low self-esteem, socially withdrawn, more isolated and lonely, not as many friends. They may have lower academic achievements due to avoiding or becoming disengaged with school. And at times they may have asked for help in the past and not received it. So what can we do? As parents, what can we do? And I let all of my parents know in the parent classes is just to simply talk to your children. Make some time out of your day to speak to them and have a conversation and get to know how school is going, get to know more into their feelings and what they're experiencing, and having open conversations. Helping them just paint an overall picture in their mind that this is temporary. A lot of the times when you are a child or a teenager, when you're being bullied, you feel like this is it. This is what your whole life consists of. And they don't understand that there is a light at the end of the tunnel. And they're going to get past this. They're going to graduate. They're going to go to their dream college. They're going to go to their dream school, their dream job. They will get through this. This is just a temporary moment in their lives, and it's just teaching them to have healthy thoughts, letting them know that this is not their fault, that no one deserves this kind of treatment, and what that other person, the aggressor, is doing is definitely not okay. It's very important to address and prepare children ahead of time so they can be emotionally and mentally prepared to take the power away from negative words. It's a normal part of life to experience conflict, but it's important to build a resilience at a young age. So when something is being said to them, that it doesn't affect them tremendously. And it's just building that resilience to understand that something negative is being said to them, but they can get past this. It's not the end of the world. At times, words are going to be said to them that are extremely negative: freak, ugly, idiot, dumb, and so on. And normal emotions that you're going to feel as a human being, as a child, as a teen, is shame, fear, anger, sadness, frustrated that this is happening to you. And at times they may feel the need to run away, the need to isolate, or maybe feel like they're not important or actually believe the words that are being said to them. But as I stated, it's just preparing them ahead of time, building that resilience for them to just build their courage and be brave to either be assertive and let the aggressor know that they don't like what they're saying to them, or tell a trusted adult. So this tool is really helpful because a lot of the times I know that parents may pick up their children from school and they may ask them, hey, how was school? How was your day? And the child might just give them a one-word answer saying, fine, okay, and that's all you get out of them for the rest of the day. So this tool is really great into just having open-ended conversations with your child so they speak up and let you know a little bit more about what's happening, whether it was a positive day or a negative day. But it's just some different examples that I would like to go over is, let's say your child comes home and they tell you that nobody likes me. What you can say is, why do you think that is? How have you tried to make friends? So obviously you're asking them open-ended questions so they don't give you that one-word answer. Another example could be, Kevin doesn't let me do anything. You can say is, I'm sorry. It sounds like you got hurt. Have you tried this? So just a really great tool just to speak to your child, have those conversations, as I stated earlier, and get to know a little bit more about these negative experiences that they want to talk to you about, and open up a little bit more with you about that. So addressing cyberbullying is a little bit different just because it's being done through electronic devices, but it's important just to have a conversation about the use of technology and staying safe early and often. Take inventory of all their social networks that they belong to, whether it's Instagram, Snapchat, Facebook, and so on, and educate your child on appropriate online behavior. Setting the standard that social media will not be used to hurt or humiliate anybody. That's very important. And setting cyber safety rules. So discuss websites that they're visiting that is appropriate and isn't appropriate to share online. Know what your child is doing online. I know privacy is important at a young age and they don't want to show anything to their parents, but it's important for you as a parent to understand that safety is always the most important thing. They love their privacy, but safety is the most important thing out of the two. And talk to them about the impact of their digital footprint and how it can affect their future. This is very important because a lot of the times when children post things online, they don't think before they post. But let's say they are applying for their dream college or applying for their dream job. Most of the time, they don't realize that employers do look at your social media accounts and they can look us back to months or years and see if you've posted anything negative, whether it's comments or pictures. And it will affect if you get into that dream college or get that dream job. So it's important for them to know that what they post now can definitely affect them in their future. And just having the cyberbullying conversation, if something hurtful is communicated online, letting them know that that does count as cyberbullying. So just some different role-playing techniques. Other than having these conversations, maybe role-playing might be an effective technique that can assist between you and your child. Reenacting scenarios in the classroom and at home might be helpful. You can either use friends if it's being done in the classroom, or you can use yourselves as parents, or you can use other siblings, other family members. And an example that I like to use is an upper grade student grabs your stuff and throws it on the ground and proceeds to laugh at you. what can you do? So I get many different answers when I ask this question at parent classes, but obviously, I guess an answer that I would think of is that I will pick up my stuff and in an assertive way, I would let that person know that what they did is wrong. Why did they do that? Please do not do that again. And if that doesn't work, because every child is different, one child might be more sensitive than the other, and they might not have that courage to speak up and say something, is tell a trusted adult. Just understand that there are so many adults on campus, and children should know that they have a great support system there as well as at home. And if that doesn't work, tell a trusted friend. Maybe that trusted friend, that peer, can help them build that courage to tell an adult. And that's where it goes into the other question, what can the other students do around you? So the bystanders, how can they be upstanders in the situation? And it can be as little as or as easy as helping the student pick up their stuff from the ground, or possibly letting that student know that they'll help them in telling a trusted adult. They'll be there for them, they'll assist them. And another thing to take into account is that different school districts may have a way of anonymously reporting bullying situations. So if a child does not feel comfortable reporting because they fear repercussions or they don't want to be known as a snitch, they can anonymously report. It's important for you as parents to look at your district's websites, your school district's websites, and individually your school's anti-bullying policies and see what they offer in regards to reporting. Other role-playing techniques, and these can actually be seen on YouTube between psychologists, psychiatrists, and their patients. And one of them is the fogging technique. So it is a way to accept criticism without letting it bring you down. Just imagine you're like the fog. When somebody throws a stone at you, you accept it and you envelop the stone in your fog without throwing the stone back at the other person. So, in a nutshell, fogging is when you acknowledge that what the aggressor says may be true or seem true to him or her without getting defensive and upset, getting practically no expected reaction. The bully is often discouraged. Most of the time, the aggressor thrives off of a reaction, whether it's crying, getting aggressive back to them, getting frustrated, getting angry. That's what they want at the end of the day. And it's important to understand that there are different ways that you can react, and it doesn't have to be the reaction that they want. Another technique that's very useful is the broken record technique. It's pretty self-explanatory. It is exactly what the name means. It is to repeat and be very clear in what you would like in that situation. So an example I'll go over is the bully says, "You suck at tennis, why even bother playing?" The target then says, "I want you to stop right now." Then the bully says, "You can't even hit the ball, it's so easy." Then the target says, "You need to stop acting like you are better than everyone right now." So they're saying it in an assertive manner, but kind of repeating it over and over and over again. The aggressor will get tired and they will move on because they're not getting the reaction that they wanted, because you're simply just acting like a broken record and repeating the same thing over and over. So these are just really beneficial role-playing techniques. And like I said, definitely take a look on YouTube and we'll explain them further. So working with your school, keep a written record of all bullying incidents as reported by your child. One example that I like to use is when you go to the doctor and you're sick, you let the doctor know all of your negative symptoms so that way you can feel better. That's how you have to treat this. And you have to be extremely detailed because obviously you want the situation resolved. Who, what, where, when, how, and also record witnesses if possible. It's very important that you're extremely detailed when you're reporting to your child's school. Cyberbullying is a little bit different because it's being done online. So you want to print the evidence, whether it's texts, emails, Twitter messages, Snapchat screenshots, web postings, or Facebook comments, along with the timestamp. Obviously, if you are printing these out, the timestamp should be on them, but just double check and make sure that you have the timestamp with those. And just act immediately. Find an ally, whether it's a teacher, whether it's another trusted staff member on campus. Please find an ally. If a situation is being done in the classroom, make sure to speak with the teacher about it. Follow up with them and have a conversation. If you feel like you need to speak to administration about any situation, make an appointment with administration. But if it is being done in a classroom, please feel comfortable in speaking with the teacher and letting them know what is going on. And then you can always go to administration, and then it leads into the district level as well after that. So in regards to bullying, how do schools find out about it? They can either find out through a teacher, that's either a parent that told the teacher, a complaint, a staff member observes harassing behavior, or a report is received indirectly. And as I stated, how does the district learn about bullying? Each district has their own anti-bullying policies, and as a parent, it's important for you guys to understand each of these policies that they have implemented, since they're all different, and just get to know them and understand, as well as your child's specific school that they attend. This slide just goes over the uniform complaint procedure, whether a complaint needs to go to a district level, and it just explains that process. So it starts off with the initiation of the investigation, and then it ends with a written report within 60 calendar days of receipt of the complaint. So as a family and a community, what can we do to help? So as parents, you know your children best. So certain red flags that you have to look for in regards to whether they're being the target of bullying or the aggressor in the situation. If you see sudden low grades occurring, a change in character, developmentally delayed, socially awkwardness, maybe an onset of disrespect, getting into fights often, teacher reports, or just a history of family discord. So these are just sudden red flags, whether it's to they're being aggressive or they're being the target in the situation. So there's important red flags to look out for. And also just think about your feelings of bullying always. Were you bullied? Were you the popular one? Were you an outsider? And just be very clear about how you feel about it. And just understand the definition of countertransference, and just help that not occur in these situations. Because let's say if you experienced bullying when you were younger, that's a totally different situation from what your child is going through right now. So just be careful with transferring those feelings and those experiences and how it was handled onto your child's current situation. Let your child know that it's not okay. Let them know that you're their biggest support system if this is happening to them. And just always think about both sides of the story, because when you do report this at the school sites, they're always going to want to know both sides of the story. So understand that there's always both sides and get all the details and information that you possibly can of the situation. So bystanders, how can bystanders help? They play an important role in preventing bullying, as bullies only thrive in an environment that promotes secrecy. While we do not suggest young people put themselves in danger, there are some safe steps that everyone can take to make a positive change and be upstanders. Reporting the incident to a trusted teacher or adult can be an option. This can be done anonymously, like I stated. There may be anonymous ways of reporting. Sticking up for the target by disagreeing with what the bully has said and making it clear that the behavior is not acceptable. Maybe rallying the support of a group of peers to stand up to the bully and report the incident, or just as easy as making a special effort to include others and befriend peers who appear isolated. It is equally important that parents and schools communicate these points explicitly to young people so they know that they will be supported when they make the correct decision not to stand by. So that's one of the most important components of our programming, our kindness events and activities. We want to go ahead and help promote kindness, inclusiveness, and respect at our school sites, because bullying is definitely not a normal part of school culture. So we want to migrate that point of view into spreading kindness and making that the most important thing on campuses. And just some protective factors for bullying that can be individual and family factors is creating a secure, caring, and self-confident environment. Supportive parenting and the modeling of positive relationships is key. Consistent and affectionate parent-child interactions as well as equally as important. Some peer and school factors could be close positive friendships with peers, engaged and responsive teachers and school staff, and providing an all-inclusive, kind environment on campus. Lastly, just some things to keep in mind is that safety is always the priority in these situations. Every case is completely different. All cases are not the same, they are all different. And targets still to this day significantly underreport the intensity and frequency of bullying. And at times, maybe family therapy is effective when working with these issues. Maybe an unbiased person may help in getting more information if a child cannot tell a trusted adult on campus or at home. These are just a couple of the references that I used in this presentation. And any more information, additional resources, handouts that you would like to print out, or this PowerPoint can be found on our website. So please go ahead and take a look at www.antibullyinginstitute.org for that information. And I would like to go ahead and finish off by thanking our sponsors and supporters, the Riverside Medical Clinic and United Way of the Inland Valleys. Thank you so much for taking the time to watch this presentation, and remember to always choose kindness. Bye-bye.